Let's talk about our current event, Aaron.
We're all winners here.
No, we're not.
What that is, they just asked for it for Christmas and they get it. And now they're using this thing as a way to create a social class in their school. No, we're going to say 3 days a week for 4 minutes, right? We're not going to let you hide and slide on this thing.
It's
so
it's
3
not
times a
hiding and
week
sliding.
for
4 minutes. Yeah.
Well, you could just get in and do 12 minutes one day.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Oh.
So we're defining. Welcome to the Mental Health Janitors, where we help you clean up the mess in your head. I'm your host, Sergeant Q, and with me as always, Doc Jess.
Hey, good morning.
All right, you guys. Well, we are into week 3 of our 4-part series on goal setting, and we've got some really cool stuff for you. Number 1, we're going to talk about this current phenomenon that's happening with these Stanley cups. It is crazy. Growing up, Stanley was like the bearded old lager guy brand, and now it's the trendy girl brand. It's crazy to see this happening. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're also going to talk about the new advancements. We're going to be discussing the apps that we've downloaded to track our goals. And so I've switched mine up. I found a different one because that other one just was not working for me, but I didn't give up on my goal setting app. I downloaded a new one. So we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about the one that you have that you really like.
Yeah.
Then we're going to get into the tool for the toolbox, which is the SWOT analysis. It's a way to be able to establish goal setting parameters. The SWOT analysis is something that you'll do to define the goals that you want to set. So we're going to talk about that, go through that exercise, and then we're going to actually walk through it. So Jess and I will walk through a SWOT analysis with you guys, show you how it works.
Perfect.
All right, Jess, you ready to get into it?
Let's go.
All right, so
Before-
wait, okay.
Got our trivia card.
Almost forgot.
Okay, word teasers.
This is a new habit for the podcast.
Yeah, what is it? 1-to-1?
1-to-1? No. It's 4-to-1.
Oh, because you're counting the 3?
Yeah, I got to count the 3. I'm keeping the 3. No, you just got to pull it and pick. You can't.
No, you're going to know this.
He's going to know the whole box.
I sneak in here after hours and I'm like,
no, you better not.
I don't.
Man of integrity. Okay. Where is most of the world's money?
Where is most of the world's money? I feel like that's a trick question. Is that a physical, like where is it physically kept or digitally kept?
Where is most of the world's money kept?
Most of the world's money is kept in digital assets that we don't even get to see. It's not physical currency. It's a digital asset. Is that what it says?
On computers. 92% of the world's currency exists on computers, with only 8% in physical currency. Someone once said they robbed banks because that's where the money is. Today, that person would have to be a hacker.
That is so funny. I'm like, this feels like a trick question because where is it kept? Like, it's not.
If you asked me, I would have probably been like, China. I don't know.
Oh,
okay,
man.
5-to-1. Got it.
So wait a minute. So it's not in the hands of the evil, rich capitalist overlords. They're not hoarding it like Scrooge McDuck.
In their bank accounts, yes, online.
Oh my gosh, the media has lied to me. That's so funny. Oh my gosh.
It's going to become my favorite part.
That's 5-to-1 for you guys who are keeping track at home.
What it should be is 5-to-1 because I got you the game because I know you have all that weird random knowledge.
Wait, are you gaslighting me right now?
Oh wow. Oh wow.
This is too fun.
This is so much fun.
Oh my gosh.
Let's talk about our current event, Aaron.
We're all winners here.
No, we're not.
Don't be a mean girl.
They are coming out with a new movie.
Are
they? Mean Girl movie, yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's just real life. Just type Karen into the old Google machine. And
oh my gosh. I feel so bad, honestly, for people named Karen.
I know. It's become this cultural phenomenon now, which we're going to talk a little bit about cultural phenomenons right now. Actually, good segue. These Stanley cups are crazy. I don't have one in studio, or I'd bring you one. My wife has like 7 of these things, Stanley cups. They look like this, but
Mine's a Costco.
yeah, this is a Costco.
I got it 3 years ago, 2 for $25 at Costco.
Before Stanley was even thinking about making these, Costco's been making them, right? So they're not trendsetters. They just have a really good marketing department. So Stanley's been around for like 90 years. The company's been around for like 90 years. And in the last 18 months, I think, and I could be wrong on this, but I think that they've made more revenue in the last 18 months than they have in the last 90 years.
Yes.
Because of these Stanley Cups and the phenomenon that it is to own these things, where people are going out and getting in fist fights to get these cups. It's wild.
They're selling for $80.
Yeah, it's crazy. Over this giant, ugly water mug.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it could be used as an EDC, an everyday carry weapon like this thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy big and bulky. And women can't just have, and women, I say women because women are the ones who are buying these things. Yeah. This used to be a brand for men, for loggers, okay? Yeah. Your truck drivers, your big burly dudes, you know, carrying their Stanley lunchbox and thermos of coffee.
Yeah.
It was a staple when I was a kid.
Black coffee that tastes like cigars.
Yeah, you saw this big burly dude with a beard walking around with this big Stanley thermos and lunchbox. Like, that's just what it was. It was like standard operating procedure. But they've hired a new CEO who has an amazing marketing background. And she is brilliant. She took this man's man brand and made it super trendy for women to purchase, and not just purchase, but buy multiples of the same thing. They can't use all these water bottles at once. They can't. It's not possible. But they have a set. It's like a collection. I watched a TikTok video of a lady that had a shelf like this of all these different, she's like collecting them. Why? It's like the new Beanie Baby.
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, being like a substitute teacher and in school suspension teacher for a couple of years, right? I was privy to some of the other trends, right? And so the water bottle trend started with Hydro Flask.
Yes.
Years ago, that was the thing to get people because they put the stickers on it where they've been, and then it turned to Yeti, right? These are expensive water bottles because they're very good quality, sure. And then it's recently now evolved into the Stanley.
And I think that it's so crazy to see it be Stanley because it was such a man's man kind of brand. Like women weren't buying this unless they were buying it for their husbands. And now it's like the cool, trendy thing to have. It are these very expensive $80, well, between $40 and $80. I've seen them even go up to $100.
Oh yeah. Like the rare or unlimited edition ones. And I see people like going off on like, so what they did is they went in and they bought a bunch and then they got sold out. And so people are now buying them on like third market.
On the secondary market.
Yeah, secondary market. And like it's like Facebook warriors are like, I hate people like you who went in and now you're selling a $45 cup for $95. And I was like, wow, this is really a thing.
That's a basic economic principle though. Supply and demand.
Yeah.
And Stanley, the new CEO, she's brilliant. She created this incredible demand for this product that she knew they didn't have enough supply of, which just makes people want it even more. And so we live in a capitalist society, whether you like it or not, we live in a capitalist society, which means that the business owners drive productivity in the U.S.
Why are you yelling at our audience?
So I'm not...
Whether you like it or not.
Speaking passionately.
Okay.
So they see an opportunity where they can go wait in line, buy all these mugs, and then turn around and sell them for a profit. Nobody's forcing people to buy them at double the price.
No.
But they're choosing to because they want to have it.
Yeah.
So that is supply and demand. That's a basic economic principle.
Yeah.
Now, that's just how it works. Now, here's something that I learned that I thought was crazy. Because of social media, because of this huge trend taking off the way that it is. When I was a kid, it was sneakers, right? Everybody had to have the Nikes, the Air Jordan sneakers. Like that's what it was. But social media wasn't there. So it took time for these trends to kind of ramp up.
Yeah.
Now with social media, they blow up almost overnight. What would take a company 3 to 5 years to build that brand recognition can now happen in 3 to 5 months.
Yeah.
It's incredibly fast. But there's a downside to this. And I watched a video, and so Casey's going to link it. You'll see it right here. He's going to link it in the description. I encourage you to go watch this, because here's what I call an unintended consequence of this Stanley mug phenomenon that's happening right now. And it's not just a Stanley Cup. That's just the newest one, like you said. It's happened before, but it's happening at a much more rapid pace because of social media. Mm-hmm. And it's this term that I just learned 2 days ago. It's called the pick-me girl term. And so I had no idea what this meant. I had to speak to my daughter and get briefed on what a pick-me girl was. And then I started asking other people about this term. And Jess, you want to enlighten us on this, what the pick-me girl term is, and then I'll tell you how it relates to these Stanley Cups.
Sure. So I have a 14-year-old daughter as well. And so I've known about this term pick-me girl for some time now. And really, and you know, we'll get into it later, but its foundations come from insecurity, right? Just like most dysfunctional processes, cognitive processes come from insecurity. But some of the traits that a pick-me girl would have are, first and foremost, they are kind of like the mean girl from the movies, where they diss other girls hardcore for whatever way they can find. They put other women down. They're more of like I only hang out with guys because there's no drama. Like, yeah, there's a lot of us out there that, like, I grew up with brothers and in the army, and, you know, like, but I'm not going around telling people like, oh, I only hang out with guys because they're less drama. Like, it's a pick-me girl is going to like bring attention to that. Mm-hmm. A pick-me girl is also going to, you know, like, pick me. Like, that's really
attention
like
seeking.
Subconsciously, they're just always like, pick me, please, pick me. They want that affirmation. They want that adoration from the male species. And so your daughter was telling us that a lot of the times, boy moms can be. Not every mom that has boys is a pick-me, but they tend to really look for the validation from their boys as their sons, and at the expense of maybe their daughters.
Yeah,
things like that. And so, if you think of like really insecure girls that are always trying to win the adoration of the male, in their life.
Really weird phenomenon that I was just learning about these pick-me girls and how that translates to these mugs. So we're going to make the connection for you guys right here. How that translates to these mugs is that now it's the popular girl, it's the mean girl that has this mug, this water bottle from Stanley. And if you don't have it, if you have the knockoff brand, then that's just one of the things that they use now to make fun of you. One of the things they use now to create a social hierarchy inside their peer group. And the video that I was just talking about that's linked, I encourage you to go watch it. It was mind-blowing to me how these social constructs are happening now in grade school based off of these cups.
Yeah, 10 and 11-year-olds.
Unbelievable. That these kids have no idea of money, of how much it costs, of what that is. They just ask for it for Christmas and they get it. And now they're using this thing as a way to create a social class in their school. And the lady who's talking is a teacher, and she's just like you'd said. They see this happening, and it's to the point now where she said she has a mug, but it's a knockoff brand, and the kids are even making fun of her because she doesn't have the brand name mug. Now, when I was a kid, you would not be making fun of your teachers for nothing, especially to their face. Maybe behind their back.
Sure,
okay? Maybe, but definitely not to their face. So it's this really weird phenomenon of how this Stanley mug is adding to, in my opinion, to the detriment of the mental health of our youth. And it's not the mug in itself. It's because parents are giving these things without explaining it, without talking to them. They're giving them this thing that their kid really wants, and then that child is now unintentionally weaponizing it to create some social status inside their peer group. It's just a weird thing. When I was a kid, it was sneakers. But like I said, it took a while for that trend to catch on. But now it happens overnight.
Yeah, I had to put my Sean Kemp's and Cheryl Swoops on layaway at Kids Foot Locker.
Do they even do layaway anymore?
No. Yeah, my dad was a pastor. We were super poor. They were not going to buy me some Cheryl Swoop $100 basketball shoes.
It's crazy. So we're going to wrap this up, Jess, but I definitely want to talk about this more. I think this is something that we should really dive into on how do we make good decisions as parents. When we give our child something that they want that's expensive, how do we teach them how to respect whatever that is? Because right now it's a Stanley Cup, but tomorrow it could be something else.
Yeah.
So how do we as parents do a really good job? And I know you do a tremendous amount of work in this space specifically, working with parents.
Yeah.
And you teach classes, which are awesome. So that would be a really great thing for us to talk about. Maybe at the end we'll talk a little bit more about it.
Yeah, if we have time. Yeah.
Perfect. So
you
have a Bible verse, Jess, for this whole mean girl thing.
Yeah. So like as the therapist in me always wants to unpack the reasons for, narcissists, the reasons for these different dysfunctional ways of thinking or behaving. And it usually comes down to a lack of self-esteem, right? And so I love Psalms and Proverbs so much because there's so much wisdom in it. But in Psalm 139, 13 and 14, it says, "You made all the delicate inner parts of my body and knit me together in my mother's womb. Thank you for making me so wonderfully complex. Your workmanship is marvelous. How well I know it." And so unless you have that level of deep spiritual self-esteem from the ultimate creator, we're going to struggle with these insecurities of being chosen or validated or wanted or fit in. And for parents, this is so important to do with your kids, is constantly validate them, constantly build them up. And not just your own kids, their friends. When they come into your home, into your safe place, you're the encouragement. You're the one that they feel good around. And so I just like to challenge you guys with that. So.
That's really good, Jess, because I was a terrible encourager I thought I was a good encourager by, the Marine Corps drill instructor way, right? But that is not very encouraging at all. And so God over the last few years has really been challenging me to be a better encourager, to add value to others. And the people who know me now, who've just recently met me in the last few years, they say that about me a lot. Like, "Oh, you give such good encouragement. Oh, I really appreciate talking to you because I feel so uplifted." That was not a default setting for me. That is something the Lord worked with me on for a long time. And I spent a lot of time with Pastor Jay because Pastor Jay is a very good encourager and said, "Pastor Jay, you got to teach me how to do this. I am terrible at this. I need to be better. Please help me." So he has walked through that with me over the last several years. And so for like the people on the blocks and these different reality shows that I've been on, they know me only as I am right now. And so those are the things that they say about me. But that was not my default setting. It took a lot of work and a lot of praying and knowing that God wanted me to be a better encourager and then working diligently. And I'm still not great at it, but I'm a lot better than I used to be. Yeah. So if you're in that position like I was, where it doesn't come natural to you, go find somebody who is an encourager and ask them to help you. They'll do it. They're an encourager, and then you will be too. Yeah. All right, so let's get into our next segment, Jess, which are the apps that we downloaded to track our habits. So the one I had in the beginning it didn't work for me. So I didn't give up on it. I just did a pivot and I downloaded a different one.
Pivot.
What is that? Pivot. I'm going to write a book. Pivot. I pivot a lot in my conversations and in my business.
And we don't want to forget to mention, if you are watching, to like and subscribe, please.
Oh, yes.
So
like and subscribe.
We can get some of his goals met.
Yes. Like and subscribe, and then share this out. If you guys find this stuff valuable, I mean, yes, we're funny. We make you laugh, but I mean, there's some valuable nuggets in here. So if you see things in here like, man, that would really help me, that was valuable, let us know in the comments, because it helps us create more of that type of content.
Yeah, exactly.
The stuff that you guys find valuable, and the stuff that you don't find valuable, we will make less of that. So let us know. And then, like I said, share it with your friends and family, with your sphere of influence, so they can, you can help them on their mental health journey. Yeah. So getting back into these habit apps, I pivoted. We should do that. Every time I say pivot, you should just throw Ross up there, just in the background. Ding.
Squirrel. Okay. So pivoted.
I pivoted to only when I say it, though, not when you say it. Oh my gosh. So,
it's so sexist.
So with these apps, I downloaded a new one called Habit Bull, and I love this one.
What do you love about it?
I love that it's nostalgic. It's very simple. Okay. Anybody who grew up in the 80s and 90s and maybe even the early 2000s remembers the Scantron. So for those of you who don't know what it is, we're going to put an image up right here. Casey's going to put an image. This is the Scantron. This is how you took every single test in school.
Yeah.
You had to fill out these little bubbles. And so with this habit app, when you complete a habit for the day, you click it and it fills in the bubble. And so you have all these bubbles.
Do you remember the directions on those? Like, don't do it like this. And it's like the bubble with it swirled all over.
Right.
Don't do it like this. Half. And then they showed you a perfect filled in bubble. And
don't like put a line through it.
Yeah. So this habit tracker is a perfectly filled in bubble.
It's a perfectly filled in bubble.
Fun.
It is. It actually really is. It goes to that gamification piece that I talked about with technology. Yeah. I love it. And then I can see the progression of my day, my week, my month, and then I can click the app and it'll also do a drop-down menu, which will then change those bubbles into percentages and graphs that I can see. Love it. Super simple. Habit Bull, Bull. Love this app. And I just have the free version right now. I haven't even paid for the upgrade, but I'm going to, not because I need the upgraded features, but because I like it so much, I want to give them my money.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So what did you find?
Yeah, so I'm using Habit now, and I'm slowly getting used to it, but it is kind of nice because they have different categories of what you want to put each habit or goal that you'd like to start tracking. There's health, there's fitness, there's reading, different categories. And now it is a little too complicated, I think, for my liking. I could put in the work to get to know it, but I would rather something a little more simplified. So it does, have those pop-ups to allow notifications. And so I've allowed notifications so it can tell me, hey, tasks as well, as we were talking in the pre-show about my brain and how it doesn't work. And for memory.
Roll that clip, Casey.
No.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Yeah, so I have horrific short-term memory. Horrific and long-term memory. And it helps me because like my husband and I get in fights all the time, not all the time, about like if I think of something, I have to do it right then. If I don't, I'll forget. I could literally be walking to my room to get something, and by the time I get to my room, I forget what I've gone there to do. And everybody has that to a certain extent. It happens to me all the time. And so it's dysfunctional. So this task manager is like, I can pull it up and just like add a task right then and there. It's like I'm in a situation with my husband. We're on a date night or something like that, and I'm like, oh yeah, I have to do that. But if I can't, hold on one second, I put it in my tasks, and so that helps me at the end of the day make sure that I got all my tasks done. So that is kind of a cool feature. One thing I really like though is my Hey Google. So sometimes they're like, hey Google, could you add a task for me to do this? And that to me is easier.
Does that go into your app? The Hey Google?
It doesn't go into that app. It goes into a Hey Google reminder.
I see. Okay.
So that more simple for me. I like that better. But I'm going to use this Habit Now app for a little bit and see how I like it.
Yeah, my wife has an AI bot that has she has an AI bot, but it's got this little tiny, I think it's called a Plaid, Plaud, something like that. It's a little tiny disc. It looks like a little tricorder from Star Trek. And so you click the button and you talk to it and it'll take whatever you said and turn it into a task list. It'll send you an email. It'll do whatever so it's like a little personal assistant in your pocket. So
oh my gosh,
we'll talk about that on the next advancement.
Yeah, let's talk about
it's really cool because I can give it a paragraph and say, turn that into a 3-paragraph email and bullet point the important pieces for a task list. And it'll just do it and it'll send it right to your phone.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to need one of those.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a subscription, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, she absolutely loves it.
Good to know. Yeah.
So with this habit now that you're using, how long have you been using it?
Honestly,
yes. Don't lie to the people.
I was not going to lie to the people, just to you. A day.
A day. So if you remember this, we're 3 weeks into this challenge and Jess is on D01.
Yes. I am really good at habits tracking.
This is great.
Executing.
You know what? Something that's great. You're even turning more red than normal right now. What's one thing that you could track on here that is a goal that you've set that you want to?
Why are you always trying to help me grow?
What's just one thing? We're not talking about 10 things. What's one thing that you want to do that's going to benefit you? We talked about this earlier.
Is this the time I'm supposed to bring up the cold plunge?
Yes.
Dang it. Cold plunge.
We talked about this earlier when we were getting ready to record as Casey was setting up all the equipment and everything. The cold plunge, and Jess was like, well, it doesn't work for me. And so Casey.
No.
Casey and I were going through trying to give her tips like, oh, try this, try that, do this, do that. And then I asked the question, well, how long have you been doing it? And how long have you been doing the cold plunge?
2 weeks.
You've been doing it for 2 weeks?
Just I haven't done it this last week, but the week before it, I did it 3 times.
Is that girl math? She's been doing it for 2 weeks, but she only did it. She didn't do it this week at all.
No, I didn't. Or last week, but the week before I did it 3 times.
Oh my gosh. So I had to ask the right questions because we're trying to help. And
I didn't say it didn't work for me. I said it was so painful for me. I'm a redhead.
We couldn't find out why. So we're trying to give pointers and help. And then I was like, I'm asking the wrong questions. And so this is the information that I found out. And I just found out even more was that I thought it was like last week that she did 3 and she's struggling with this week. But no, that was like 3 weeks ago. She tried it and now she hasn't done it for a couple weeks. That's why it hurts, why it's so painful, because you got to build up some tolerance to it, right? Mm-hmm. Think about the first time that you went to basic training and they had you do all those push-ups and run and all that PT. Your body was in a tremendous amount of pain until you built up some tolerance and resistance to it. Mm-hmm, and then it got a little bit easier. It didn't get easier, but it got less painful. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the ice bath. And so do you think that tracking your ice bath on here
I'll track my ice bath on there.
All right. We just full circle with that, right? Yeah. So Jess is going to track her ice bath and she's going to do it 3 times a week, right? Is that what you said? Mm-hmm. So which days are you going to do that?
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And who's going to help hold you accountable to that?
Obviously, the whole world now.
Yes, we are going to hold you accountable to make sure you're doing it. And I'm going to double check that because I know her husband. And so I'm going to double check to make sure she's doing it. So that is a great goal and a great habit that we'll be able to track in real time. And you as the audience get to come along with us and watch us as we struggle to achieve the goals that we want to hit. It is a struggle. And so when you guys fail and you can't make it and you're like, oh, I missed this week, it's okay. Jessica missed a week too. 3 weeks, really. But who's counting? Not you. You haven't been keeping your habit tracker either.
As I say, not as I do. Isn't that it?
So the stuff we're teaching you guys isn't like we're the expert, right? But it's not like we do it right every single time. Yeah. We still struggle with this stuff too. Yeah. That's just the reality of it. So when you're struggling and you fail and you missed it and you skipped it for 3 weeks, it's okay. So let's get into our tool for the toolbox, the SWOT analysis. All right, Jess, you talk to me about this SWOT analysis. What do you like? What is it? And what do you like about it? And then I'll tell you how I use it in the business world.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so the SWOT analysis stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? So if we have an example of my goal is to start a side business. My SWOT analysis, SWOT, would be my strengths is marketing skills, industry knowledge. My weaknesses would be limited financial resources, time constraints, things like that. Then my opportunities could be growing market demand, networking opportunities, and then my threats might be economic uncertainty and then other competition. And so really just working through those and dissecting what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what your opportunities could be, and what threats could look like helps us come into the goal more prepared and in the end, more successful at walking that goal out.
Yeah. So the SWOT analysis is something you do before you set the goal. Like, this is what I want to do. You do the SWOT analysis before you start building in the structure, routine, and discipline.
Yes. Cool.
Right?
That's a really good way to put it.
Yeah. It's like your pre-workup. So for us, it would be like your recon, like going and reconning the enemy before you deploy troops into that space. Because you got to know what you're going to be up against. I use this all the time in business. Every time that I'm going to start a new business venture, every time that I'm going to put a new product line out there, write a new book, I do the SWOT analysis just so I know where I'm at. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So for me, a great example, I have a new product that's coming out, which you guys don't know what it is, but when I debut it, you'll know. So I have to look at the strength. What are my strengths? Social media, I got that on point. So all of my marketing and stuff is going to be guerrilla style on social media. It's going to be using this channel. It's going to be using my Facebook, my TikTok, and blowing it up out there. The other strength that I have is I speak in front of a lot of crowds. And so this product that I'm bringing out, I'm going to just be giving away to get it in people's hands, to get that brand recognition out there. So those are my strengths. What are my weaknesses? Finances. I don't have a ton of money to run this huge marketing campaign that's national. So I got to do grassroots. So the weakness, that's one of my weaknesses. The other weakness is I've got to import this from another country. And I'm not well versed in the importation. So that is a weakness. But because I know it's a weakness, I have found a guy who's really good at doing this. So I'm going to bring him in because I know that that's a weakness that I have. Another weakness that I have is working through the governmental paperwork of doing the importing piece. So I'm going to hire a company to do that for me. So I know what my weaknesses are, and now I got to try and find assets to help me. My opportunity, the opportunity is it's going to help a lot of people deal with their mental health, specifically anxiety and panic. I know it's going to work. I've done the research on it. I'm not creating anything new. I'm taking everything that we know and putting it into a nice, neat little package and presenting it almost similar to the Stanley Cup, the marketing, right? Stanley's been around a long time. They just had a great marketing plan. That's what I'm going to bank on, is a great marketing plan to get this out there. So the opportunity is huge to get this in front of a lot of people. And it works both ways. I'm going to help people. And at the same time, I'm going to build my own brand talking about mental health and teaching on it, giving me more opportunities. Now, my threats. Threats are, there are a lot of other competitors in this space that are huge, that produce similar things that I produce, but they don't utilize them in the way that I utilize them. So when I come out, I've got to come out fast, hard, and strong and get good market share of brand recognition, because it could be very easy for one of these very large companies to dump $10 million into rebranding something in their product line to compete with me. And that will happen at some point. So I just have to make sure I come out of the gate swinging and gain as much market share as I can as quickly as possible. So that's how I use SWOT analysis in my business right now.
Yeah.
So how could we take this SWOT analysis and utilize it for a mental health goal?
Well, you want to do it with the ice bath for me?
Okay. All right. Let's do it. All right. So we will get into our practical piece, and Jess gets to be in the hot seat, or cold seat, as it were.
This whole month is me in the cold seat.
I love it.
You're good at setting goals. That's why.
I am. Yes. I'm helping other people set their goals too.
I know. You're a good business coach.
And then
not therapist.
I tell people, yes.
But Casey earlier said, I'm getting paid to be a jerk.
I tell people, I said, be careful. Tell me what your goals are, because I am a ruthless vato and I will just relentlessly chase after you to accomplish those goals.
10% of Americans say that they or a loved one have suffered from mental health crisis. Together, we can change all that. Introducing QActual, a revolutionary new peer-to-peer based mobile application. Personalized to fit your lifestyle. With pinpoint GPS location in times of emergency. Connecting you to your care provider. With QActual, we will move you forward. Download QActual now and visit QActual.com.
Let's do a SWOT analysis for the ice bath. So first, let's figure out your why. Why do you want to do the ice bath?
My why for wanting to do the ice bath is I am getting older. I'm hitting my big 4-0 in 6 days, and I'm feeling it in my joints. I'm getting injured easier. I do struggle with some chronic pain, and I want to be active in my kid's life. I want to be a good example to other women. I want to be as healthy as I possibly can, taking care of the temple that God has loaned to me while I'm on this earth. And I know all the research behind the ice baths help with that chronic pain, that joint pain, and building that mental resilience to be stronger, right? I'm going through the Proverbs every day this month, just to start my year in the Proverbs. I heard even Joe Rogan was like, Proverbs, he said the BA. And I'm like, okay, Joe Rogan. But like, there's so much good stuff in it, insight. And so there was 2 in a row that was about the adulterer and the adulteress. Right. And so it's easy to kind of skip over those as a wife because I don't struggle with it and I'm married. But really what I feel like the Lord revealed to me as I'm going on this tangent about that was be the wife that helps my husband not be tempted by the adulteress. Right. Yes, he's 100% accountable for his actions, captivating his thoughts, all of those things. Yes. I am also held accountable to be his helpmate and to keep myself in good health, spiritually, emotionally, and physically for my husband. So, the whole, like, you get married, you get comfortable. We were just explaining this to Liberty, our daughter, the other day, of how statistics show that the amount of women after they get divorced, the amount that go back to the gym and take care of their bodies is like skyrockets, right? Like, that's sad. You should be doing that. And I'm not saying, it's their fault they got a divorce because they got fat and happy, right? I'm not saying that. I just like, there is a part I should play as a wife to keep myself attractive spiritually, emotionally, and physically to my husband. And so breaking that down for me, one of those things is that mental resiliency and emotional resiliency. And I do know that the ice bath, it just really compounds that. Is that a good enough answer for you?
This is why I love talking with people who are on this mental health track, because when we talk about something, we are mentally processing through it ourselves. And that's what you just watched Jess do. I said, What is your why? And so she really dug into that and put out all the reasons why, and not just the reasons why, but validated why it was important. And then talked about the pitfalls of not doing it. That's her brain processing through that moment in real time, which you guys just got to witness. That was pretty cool.
You're welcome.
That was pretty cool. All right. So let's get into the SWOT analysis. Your why is pretty evident. You talked about that. So what is the strength that you have in completing this task, this goal? What strengths do you bring to the table?
I have the cold plunge at home ready to get in.
So it's available.
I am one of the toughest women I know. I say that, it sounds pretty egotistic, but
I'd say it's true. I mean, there's evidence. There's evidence to that. There's a lot of evidence to it, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
So that is a strength, I would say, is that I am tough to work through the pain of it. And my knowledge behind the benefits of it, I would say, is a strength.
Perfect. So we have availability to the resources you need, that you are inherently tough and can struggle through the pain. And then you have the knowledge of the research behind why it's important.
Yeah. So
let's talk about your weaknesses. What are the weaknesses that you have when it comes to this space?
Yeah. The caveat or the opposite of being tough is I do have a very low pain tolerance. So though I can handle a lot of physical and mental pain, the actual pain I feel feels stronger, I think, than other people. And there's research behind this as well. As like a natural born redhead, I need 3 times the Novocaine when I go to the dentist. I need twice as much anesthesia when I go into surgery. I just have a higher tolerance for things to combat pain. They also say research has come out with redheads, natural born redheads, have a proven harder time regulating their temperature, actually, and possibly more nerve endings than an average skinned person, because that's why they need more Novocaine or anesthesia, things like that. And that's why we bleed more. Research shows we bleed more. So with everything medical wise, they have to like keep in, okay, she's a redhead, she's going to bleed more, get more whatever it is. My C-section C-sections were pretty scary at certain times because I did bleed more than average person. So those kinds of things are going to be my weaknesses. Pain. I feel pain.
You feel pain?
Yeah.
Okay. So I love to talk about this part. So that's your weakness. What are some things that you could put in place to help shore up those weak pieces?
Yeah, the booties, I think.
The booties.
The hand things you told me to get.
Yep.
And then like also what we talked about at, getting it at the highest temperature to still get the benefits. So I think we said 50, 52 degrees. Mm-hmm. And so maybe those ice baths aren't going to be as incredibly daunting for me as the 40-degree one. And so learning how to regulate that temperature might really help that.
Perfect. So we looked at a couple of things that can help you shore up those weaknesses. Mm-hmm. So what's the opportunity here?
The opportunities of ice baths are less chronic pain, strengthened mental resiliency, the weight loss is put into, acceleration for a couple hours after. The mental clarity that I do feel when I get out is pretty epic. An opportunity to, I'm getting more out there in front of the public. And so the opportunity to really say, this was really hard for me. I pushed through, I did it, to be a good example, I think is really important to me.
That's what I was going to say. But you nailed it.
Good.
Have you considered what an example this will be to the audience? So yeah, that's great.
If I do it. No, I'm just kidding.
Even if you don't, it'll still be a good example.
No.
We'll turn that zero to a hero. We'll make it work.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'm going to do it.
All right.
The pressure's on.
What are some of the threats to doing this?
It's getting really cold outside.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be harder to regulate the temperature. It's not like a fancy one. It's like a blow up. It's just whatever temperature it is outside. That's what it is.
So that's a threat?
Yeah.
What's another threat?
My own mind.
Your own mind?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Really rewards work for me too. So I could put like
fantastic rewards.
Small reward weekly if I do it, and then a bigger reward monthly, and then a big banger reward for like 6 months of doing it. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. So like rewards. So what are you going to give me if I do this?
Perfect.
You can give me rewards.
Okay. That is
Stanley.
I will think of something. No, really, I will. But I'm not going to say 6 months. I'm going to say if you can nail 30 days. Well, actually, no, 66 days, because you need 66 days to create a habit.
Okay.
Statistically, that's what it takes, 66 days. So if you can hit 66 days, I will think of a reward. And so if you guys can think of one that's reasonable, okay, I'm not giving her a trip to the Bahamas, a reasonable reward that fits in with this, let me know. Send me some links, put it in the comments, and I will consider it. Yeah, I will consider it. So 66 days. Now we have to define this a little bit, but that means
3 days a week for 4 minutes.
Yes.
Or 12 minutes a week.
We're going to say 3 days a week for 4 minutes, right? We're not going to let you hide and slide on this thing.
It's
so
it's
3
not
times a
hiding and
week
sliding.
for
4 minutes. Yeah.
Well, you could just get in and do 12 minutes one day.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Oh.
So we're defining it as 3 times a week for 4 minutes. So what happens if you miss a day? Then you go back to day 01, right? So you have to stay consistent every week. So every week.
Wednesday,
You're going to do
January. Yeah, what about my week I'm gone?
Figure it out.
You're going to have to figure it out. Or you're going to have to start over at day 1. Because if you miss a day, then you got to start back at day 1.
Okay, can we start February 1st?
No, we're starting today. We're literally starting today. No excuses, right?
Yes.
If you miss out, you're going to restart in February.
You're just going to prolong that agony.
Yeah. Okay, 66 days.
Yep. 3 days a week, 4 minutes. And we're going to check your Habit Now app to make sure that you're tracking it and doing it.
Okay.
And then, that'll be a good goal. Fantastic. Okay. I love it. So that's it for the mental health janitors. Today, we've covered a lot of stuff. We have talked about this Stanley Cup phenomenon that's been happening, sweeping across the internet. We also talked about the new advancements, these goal setting apps to help you stay consistent with the goals that you set for yourself. We also talked about the SWOT analysis, which is great at establishing a goal and how you're going to get there before you start putting it into practice. And then we walked that through with Jess with the ice bath, set some really cool goals, 3 minutes a day or 3 times a week, 4 minutes a day, 66 days is her goal. You guys are going to help hold her accountable. It's going to be fantastic. So as always, for the mental health janitors, we hope to educate, empower, and encourage you on your mental health journey. And so I'm Sergeant Q, and this is Doc Jess.
And we're out.